Hey, welcome back to Math Quest. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. So, you're looking to learn how to solve exponential functions. Or how to write exponential functions, because that's what this video is about. How to look at a graph and be able to pull out the pertinent information so that you can write an exponential function. Okay? What I want you to see here, well, it says find the corresponding equation in the form y equals ab to the power of x, right? So first of all, before we do anything, right here, make sure that you're taking notes and write point at the A, because the A is what I like to call is my starting point. This is where I start, but it's of course mathematically known as my y-intercept. So make sure you label it. Don't forget. Write things down. It'll help you remember. Your B is your multiplier. Okay, this is your multiplier. What the graph is growing by. Multiplies. Multiplier is an R. So it shows me growth, right? This could be positive or negative growth. So that shows my growth. And my exponent, of course, is just my input, my x value, of course. All right. So make sure you write that down. It's going to help you remember. So let's get started here. Y equals AB to the power of X is the format. What I like to do when I write these equations, I like to create a table every time. It just helps me to visually organize things, be able to find my information. That's all. So I want to write whatever available points they gave me. So it's here. What I can see is that they gave me a 5. This is 5, 0. This is where it intercepts, which is great because that just goes right into my formula. It goes plugged in. I get to just plug it into my formula. So let's go ahead and do that now. So that would be 0, my input, and my output is 5. That's my intercept there. All right. Now that I have that, notice it goes over 1 and up 2. Since it goes over 1 from 0, that means my value right here is 1. Well, great, because I'm at 0. So now I'm going to put in a 1. And what is the output? Don't make this mistake. The output is not 2. That means it went up 2 from 5. Therefore, my output is actually 7. So let's write 7 in there. Now, I don't need any more values. 2 is enough. So if you have others, you can use them to test out your theory once you come up with your formula. But this is all you need. Now, all you're checking is here is, what is my multiplier? 5 times what equals 7? Well, I don't want to sit here and guess on a calculator and put in random numbers until I get 7. So just do the opposite, right? 7 divided by 5. So 7 divided by 5. Now get your trusty calculator, and this equals 1.4. This right here is my multiplier, okay? Label it on your notes, okay? Label it on your notes, because otherwise you'll forget what this number is for. And that makes it easy to plug into the formula, right? You got to plug it in right there for B. So that is your B if you want to label it that way. So right now I have everything that I need to write my equation. So let's go ahead and do that. Y equals my starting point, which is right here, 5, times my multiplier, which is 1.7. So 1.7, 1.4 to the power of x. And x are just my input values right here, right? So if they needed me to find where the value of what the 100th term would be, then I just put in 100 and that would give me that value. So that's as easy as it gets. I hope I simplified this very much for you. Listen up. I have 5 more graphs to show you. They're all a little bit different. So stick around because I got some more different ones so that we can go through them together. Here we go. So our second one here. Notice, once again, they gave me my intercept, which is great. That's what I need. So let's go ahead and write it in. Again, I organize my data in a table. So I got 0 and 40. And then my next one is 120, and make sure you pay attention here. This is a negative 1. Oh, I should have paid attention before. So that's a negative 120. Listen up carefully. This value, the second one here, this value comes before this one, right? So I don't want you to make the mistake and divide 120 by 40. That would be wrong. You need to write your last value by the first one. So it's going to be 40 divided by 120. Okay? 40 divided by 120. So let's go. What's your, oops, can't get my pencil. 40 divided by 120. Oh, this is simple. Cancel out the zeros. And then 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 12, 3. So my multiplier is 1/3. Now, I have my multiplier. I have my starting point. I have everything I need. Therefore, y equals my starting point of 40 and my multiplier of 1/3. So times 1/3 to the value of x. All right. Now pay attention here. See this 1/3? A lot of you get too hung up on using calculators. And of course, it's going to give you a repeating decimal, 0.3, 0.333, and so forth. Whenever you get a repeating decimal, you do not want to plug in the repeating decimal here because it's not going to give you an accurate answer, an accurate value because it repeats. You want to always use the fraction when you get a repeating decimal, whatever that repeating decimal is, 0.6 or point whatever, you want to use the fraction of that repeating decimal. Do not use the repeating decimal, right? Make sure you use the fraction. And that is a super valuable tip that no one else is going to give you. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, let's look at this graph right here. Notice they gave me once again my y-intercept and they gave me my another value, but I want you to pay attention because this next value doesn't go in order. So we have 0 and then it skips all the way up to 3. All right, so this can be tricky. You need to pay attention to those values there. So let's go ahead and create our table here. That's my x, that's my y. They did give me 0, and that's 7. And they gave me 3, and that's 56. So I'm still going to follow the same format. I'm going to divide this 56 by the 7. And if you know your multiplication tables, you know that 7 times 8 is 56. So therefore, my multiplier here is 8. But pay attention again, because we skipped 1 and we skipped 2, and it gave us our third one. That means that if I take 56, right? If I take 56 and multiply it times 8, it's going to give me my sixth one, right? Because it's going to give me every third value. Therefore, 8 is not my actual multiplier. What I need to do is take the cube root of it, right? Because radicals undo exponents, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the cube root of 8, right? And the cube root of 8 equals 2. So my actual multiplier is 2 and not 8. All right. Now I have everything I need. I have my starting point and I have my multiplier. And that's all I need for this particular equation. So y equals 7, my starting point, times 2 to the power of x. Always, and especially if you doubt yourself, go ahead and take a value of one that already has an output and plug it in and see if it works. Let's plug in 3. So we got 2 to the power of 3. It gives us 8, and 8 times 7 gives us 56. So yes, it works. Even if I plug in 0, 2 to the power of 0 equals 1, and 7 times 1 equals 7. So it seems to work for my outputs. So I know for a fact that this is my correct equation for this graph. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now this particular graph I really like. Well, I like to show, not that I like it in any particular reason. And I'm glad to be showing it to you because this is one of those graphs where they put up and it throws you off. Like, whoa, what's happening here, right? How do I write an equation? It's just a flat line. It doesn't have any growth. It's not going up or down. So watch. This is one of those that's pretty simple. You don't need a table for this particular one, or I don't, but I'll just do it to simulate. Maybe it helps you explain. So I do have my 0. My 0 is 18. And then I have my value 5, my fifth value, which is 18. I hope that by now you've noticed that, well, aren't these also going to be 18? Yeah, they are. So value 1, 2, and 3, they're all 18, right? So all of them are going to give me 18. So then the question really becomes, 18 times what equals 18? That's the question. Or 18 divided by 18 equals 1. And that's my multiplier. So therefore, y equals my starting point of 18 times 1 to the power of x. You see how simple that was? But that's one of those ones that throws you off. All right, be careful on those. All right, let's move on to our next one. All right, in this particular one, this is one that tends to get people because they don't pay good, especially if you're good at this, right? If you start getting good at this, you start to understand. This is one that will throw people off. So pay attention. Here we go. Oops, let's create our table here. Okay, come on, people. Sometimes technology just does not want to cooperate. All right, here we go. Let's go 0, 1, 2, 3, because I see they also gave me my third value here. But pay attention here, they did not give me my starting point, right? I don't have my y-intercept. They gave me 0.2 and 0.3. So at least I have those. Let's go ahead and write those in. So for 0.2, I have 75. And for 0.3, I have 375. Okay. Now, since they're in sequence, all I have to do is divide them. 375 divided by 75. And this equals 5. Okay. That's my multiplier. That means that 75 times 5 equals 375. Great. I have my multiplier, but I do not have my starting point. I'm missing that. So simple. I can just take 75 and divide it by 5 and 75 divided by 5 twice. And that would give me my value. That's the, simple way of doing it. So let's just keep things simple and do it that way. 75 divided by 5, 60. So that's 15. And 15 divided by 5, of course, that's 3. So therefore, I have my entire table. Now I can go ahead and write my equation. So this particular equation is y equals, my starting point is 3. My multiplier is 5 to the power of x. Let's just test it out. Let's plug in a 2. How about that? Plug in a 2. 5 to the power of 2 is 25. 25 times 3, 75. Hey. It seems to work. Therefore, that's my answer. Listen, people, sometimes we get too confident in these when we get in a rhythm, and we tend to just write them and move on. Always take the time to check them. All right, you don't want to get something wrong just because you've made a minor miscalculation or did something wrong. Always check them to verify and just to make sure that you get it right. All right, let's do one more and we'll call it a day. All right, so on this graph here, I went ahead and created the table already so we can get a head start. So notice this graph here. My graph is crossing at -8, right? It's crossing at -8 right here. And my second point is at 1, -16. This is a pretty simple one. Just make sure your values, pay attention to the positive and negative is really what you have to pay attention to. So let's go ahead and fill in the table. For 0, we said it was -8. And for 1, it is -16. So it should be pretty obvious that this -8 is being multiplied times a +2 to get -16. Don't make the mistake and make it a -2. All right. Sometimes we do that without thinking because we just see negatives and we start multiplying. At this point, I have my multiplier and I have my starting point, so I can go ahead and write it. Y equals my starting point of -8 times 2 to the power of x. Now that I have that, let's go ahead and test it out. Let's plug in the 1. 2 to the power 1 is 2. 2 times -8 is -16. So it works. Plug in the 0. 2 to the power of 0 is 1. 1 times -8 is -8. Therefore, I've confirmed and I know for a fact that that is my answer. Listen, guys, I hope you really enjoyed my video. I hope that you actually have a much better understanding And don't forget to come back, subscribe, like, because I'm a current math teacher. I love talking about math. I love creating these videos. And if you have a specific one you want me to create, let me know. I'll create it within the week. Okay? So let me know, and I'll create it especially for you. Otherwise, I'll keep putting out new videos as fast as I can. No less than one a week. Hey, don't forget to check out my Mental Math Monday. Those are funny. All right. You guys have a good day, and thank you for coming to Math Quiz. Goodbye.